Do you have any idea how much this suit costs? $15,000. More than you'll make in 6 months, you ignorant—
Juana Chun stood in the middle of the Golden Terrace restaurant holding an empty water pitcher while Vincent Kane, billionaire, power broker, destroyer of lives, screamed at her in front of 70 people. Do you have any idea how much this suit costs? $15,000. More than you'll make in 6 months, you ignorant. And that's when Juana did something she hadn't done in 3 years. She looked him directly in the eyes and said 5 words in perfect Mandarin that made his face go white. I know what you did. Then she switched to Korean, then French, then Spanish, then Russian. And in each language, she told a different story. About a different victim, a different fraud, a different life Vincent Kane had destroyed. By the time she finished speaking, 8 investors had left his table. His billion-dollar deal was dead. And the man who'd spent 3 years hunting for the lawyer who tried to expose him finally realized she'd been hiding in plain sight, serving his drinks, cleaning his tables, waiting for the perfect moment. This is that story. 3 years earlier, Juana Chun sat in a conference room on the 42nd floor of Whitmore & Associates, one of the most prestigious law firms in the city. She was 31, Harvard Law, top of her class, specialized in corporate fraud and securities litigation. She'd just made junior partner, first black woman to do so in the firm's 70-year history, and she was about to throw it all away. Across the table sat Linda Foster, senior partner, Juana's mentor, the woman who'd championed her career for 6 years. Don't do this, Linda said quietly. I have to. You don't. You really don't. The Kane files are sealed. The settlement is done. It's over. It's not over. He's still out there, still doing it. And we helped him cover it up. Linda's expression hardened. We represented a client. That's our job. Our job isn't to help criminals destroy families. Vincent Kane is not our concern anymore. The case is closed. Then I'll reopen it. Publicly. I have copies of everything. The falsified contracts. The offshore accounts. The threats he made to witnesses. Linda stood up slowly. If you do that, you'll never practice law again. Breach of attorney-client privilege. Disbarment. Criminal charges. Your career will be over. My career is already over. I can't look at myself in the mirror knowing what I know. Then you're a fool. Juana stood, placed her resignation letter on the table. Maybe, but at least I'll be able to sleep at night. She walked out. And within 48 hours, everything Linda predicted came true. Vincent Kane filed a lawsuit. Breach of confidentiality. Defamation. Attempted extortion. His lawyers, expensive, ruthless, connected, buried her. The Bar Association opened an investigation. Her reputation was shredded across legal journals and news sites. Disgraced attorney attempts to shake down billionaire client. Former Harvard lawyer accused of fabricating evidence. Mental breakdown cited in bizarre fraud accusations. Nobody believed her. Nobody cared. Because Vincent Kane was powerful and Juana was just another ambitious lawyer who'd flamed out. Except it was worse than that. Because Vincent Kane didn't just destroy her career. He made it personal. One night, 3 months after she resigned, Juana came home to her apartment. The door was unlocked. Inside, sitting on her couch, was a man in an expensive suit she'd never seen before. Ms. Chun, I work for Mr. Kane. He wanted me to deliver a message. Juana's hand was on her phone. Get out, or I'm calling the police. The police won't help you. Neither will the Bar Association. Neither will anyone you used to know. You're alone. And Mr. Kane wants you to understand something very clearly. He stood up, left an envelope on the coffee table. If you continue talking about him, if you contact any journalists, if you even mention his name in public, something very unfortunate will happen to your mother in Atlanta, or your brother in Chicago, or your niece who just started college. He walked to the door, stopped. Mr. Kane doesn't need to destroy you anymore. You did that yourself. But he will destroy everyone you love. So be smart. Disappear. He left. Juana opened the envelope with shaking hands. Inside, photos. Her mother at the grocery store. Her brother walking his dog. Her niece on campus. And a note. Silence is survival. That's how Juana Chun, Harvard Law graduate, former junior partner, fluent in 5 languages, became a waitress at the Golden Terrace. She cut her hair, changed her appearance, applied under her mother's maiden name, took a job where powerful people came but never actually saw the staff serving them, where she could be invisible. The manager, Judge Martinez, hired her without asking many questions. "You're overqualified," he said during the interview. "I just need the work. You have a law degree and a nursing certification. Why here?" "Personal reasons." Judge studied her for a long moment, like he recognized something in her eyes. "Okay, but if you're running from something, this might not be the place. We get a lot of powerful people here. Celebrities, politicians, CEOs. That's fine. Some of them are not good people. I can handle it." Judge hired her, and for 8 months, Juana disappeared into the background. Perfect waitress. Polite. Efficient. Forgettable. She listened to conversations at tables. Learned who was who. What deals were happening. What secrets were being shared over expensive wine. And she waited. Because she knew Vincent Kane would show up eventually. Men like him always did. They loved places like this. Places where they could be seen. Where they could feel powerful. She just had to be patient. The night it happened started normally. Tuesday evening. Moderately busy. Juana was working her section, 6 tables near the back, away from the main floor. She preferred it that way. Less visible. Judge approached her around 7:30 p.m. "I need you to swap with Robin. She's got a VIP table on the main floor. Big party. I need someone experienced." "I'm fine here." "Juana, I need you there. Please." Something in his voice. Urgent. Almost apologetic. "Who's the table?" "Vincent Kane. He just walked in with 8 guests. Investors from overseas. Big deal going down tonight." Juana's blood went cold. "I can't." "You have to. Robin called in sick. Marcus is covering the bar. You're the only one who can handle it." "Judge, I can't serve that table." "Why not?" "Because that man threatened my family. Because he destroyed my career. Because if he recognizes me, I'm dead." "Personal reasons." Judge's expression shifted, like pieces clicking into place. "This is what you've been running from." Juana said nothing. "You don't have to tell me. But I need to know. Are you in danger?" "Only if he recognizes me." "Will he?" "I don't think so. I look different now." Judge nodded slowly. "Okay, here's what we'll do. You'll serve the table. But stay professional. Don't engage. Don't make eye contact. In and out. Can you do that?" "No." "Yes. If anything happens, anything at all, you signal me. I'll handle it." Juana nodded and walked toward the table where Vincent Kane sat like a king holding court. He looked exactly the same. 54. Silver hair. Expensive suit. That smile that never reached his eyes. Confident. Untouchable. Surrounded by investors. Juana recognized the accents. Mandarin. Korean. French. Russian. Spanish. International money. Probably another real estate scheme. Another way to funnel dirty money through legitimate-looking developments while burying the fraud in complexity and shell corporations. Juana approached with menus. "Good evening. I'm Juana. I'll be taking care of you tonight." Vincent didn't even look at her. "Bring us 3 bottles of the Chateau Margaux. And tell the chef we want the tasting menu. All of us." "Of course." She moved away quickly. Hands steady. Heart racing. He didn't recognize her. 3 years. Different hair. Different makeup. Different posture. She was invisible. For the next 90 minutes, Juana served the table. Wine. Food. Water. Quietly. Efficiently. She listened to their conversation. Vincent was pitching an investment opportunity. Luxury resort development in the Caribbean. Projected returns of 40% annually. It was a scam. Juana knew because she'd seen the same pitch 3 years ago. Different location. Same structure. Same inflated projections. Same inevitable collapse. The investors were asking good questions. About timelines. About regulatory approvals. About market analysis. Vincent had answers for everything. Confident. Smooth. Lying through his teeth. And they were buying it. Natalia Chun, one of the investors, Juana recognized her from previous visits, seemed particularly interested. "Mr. Kane, your projections are impressive. But I've learned to be cautious. Your reputation is complicated." Vincent smiled. "Complicated how?" "There have been allegations. Lawsuits. Settlements. All resolved. All frivolous. Competitors trying to damage my reputation. And the lawyer who accused you of fraud? Disbarred. Discredited. Mentally unstable. She fabricated evidence and attempted extortion. It was unfortunate." Juana's hand tightened on the water pitcher she was holding. Natalia nodded slowly. "I see. Still, before we commit, we'll need independent verification of." That's when it happened. Juana was refilling water glasses. Her hand was shaking. Just slightly. From rage. From stress. From 3 years of silence. And the pitcher tilted. Water spilled. Not much. Maybe 2 ounces. Onto Vincent Kane's sleeve. He jerked back. What the hell? I'm so sorry, sir. Let me. Vincent stood up. His chair scraped loudly. The entire restaurant went quiet. Do you have any idea how much this suit costs? Sir, I apologize. I'll get a towel. $15,000. That's more than you make in 6 months. Juana grabbed a napkin, started dabbing at his sleeve. Vincent grabbed her wrist. Hard. Don't touch me. Judge started moving from across the restaurant. But he was too far away. Vincent looked at her. Really looked at her. For the first time all night. And Juana saw it. The flicker of recognition. Not complete. But something. Do I know you? No, sir. You look familiar. I have one of those faces. What's your name? Juana. Juana what? Espinoza. Her mother's maiden name. Vincent studied her for another moment. Then released her wrist. You're clumsy. And careless. Do you even have a high school diploma? The investors were watching. Uncomfortable. But not intervening. Yes, sir. Then act like it. People like you are replaceable. There are 1,000 waitresses who would kill for this job. Remember that. He sat down. Dismissive. Like she was an insect he'd already forgotten. And something inside Juana broke. Not broke. Unlocked. 3 years of silence. 3 years of fear. 3 years of being invisible. She was done. Actually, Mr. Kane, I have 2 degrees. Vincent looked up. Annoyed. Excuse me. 2 university degrees. Law from Harvard. Nursing from Columbia. I'm also fluent in 5 languages. So yes, I have a high school diploma. The table went silent. Vincent's expression shifted. Confusion. Then anger. Then something that might have been fear. What did you just say? I said I'm not as replaceable as you think. Who the hell are you? Juana smiled. For the first time in 3 years, a real smile. Someone you tried very hard to forget. And then she spoke in Mandarin. Directly to the 2 Chinese investors at the table. 3 years ago, Vincent Kane defrauded Robert Torres out of $4 million in a Miami development deal. Torres discovered the contracts were falsified. When he tried to sue, Kane threatened his family. Torres settled and signed an NDA. The investors stared at her. At Vincent. At each other. Vincent stood up. You need to leave. Now. Juana ignored him. Switched to Korean. Addressed the Korean investor. 2 years ago, Vincent Kane ran a real estate scam targeting Korean investors in Los Angeles. Promised luxury condos. Delivered empty lots. Robin Davis lost his retirement savings. When he complained, Kane had him arrested on fabricated fraud charges. The Korean investor's face went pale. Vincent grabbed his phone. I'm calling security. Juana switched to French. Vincent Kane has offshore accounts in the Cayman Islands. Shell corporations in Delaware. And a history of inflating property values to secure financing he never intends to repay. The French investor pushed back from the table. Spanish next. He targets immigrant communities. Offers investments with guaranteed returns. Collects millions. Declares bankruptcy. Keeps the money. Russian last. And when people threaten to expose him, he threatens their families. He destroys their careers. He uses the law as a weapon. Because he knows most people won't fight back. The entire restaurant was silent. Vincent Kane stood there. Face red. Hands shaking. I don't know who the hell you are. Yes, you do. And Juana said it. Her real name. Her real identity. Juana Chun. Former attorney at Whitmore and Associates. The lawyer you had disbarred. The woman you threatened. The person you've been hoping disappeared forever. Vincent's expression went from rage to shock to terror in 3 seconds. You're dead. Your career is dead. You're nobody. Maybe. But I'm nobody who knows everything. And I'm nobody who's not afraid anymore. She looked at the investors. All of them frozen. Processing. Everything he just pitched you tonight? It's a scam. The Caribbean resort doesn't exist. The regulatory approvals are fabricated. The projected returns are fantasy. If you invest, your money will disappear into shell corporations and offshore accounts. And when you try to sue, he'll bury you in legal fees and threats. Natalia Chin stood up, pulled out her phone. I'm calling my attorney. The Mandarin-speaking investors stood, spoke rapidly to each other, walked away from the table. One by one, they left. Vincent stood alone, and Judge Martinez walked over. Calm. Steady. Mr. Kane, I think it's time for you to leave. This woman just slandered me in front of. This woman just saved my restaurant from being associated with a fraud investigation. Get out. I'm a regular customer. I spend thousands here. And you're no longer welcome. Leave. Now. Vincent looked at Juana, at Judge, at the remaining investors walking away. Then he leaned close to Juana. Whispered, "You just signed your death warrant." Juana whispered back, "No, I just ended yours." Vincent left, and Juana stood there, in the middle of the restaurant. 70 people watching. Her hands were shaking. Her heart was racing. But she was smiling. Because for the first time in 3 years, she wasn't invisible. The restaurant stayed silent for exactly 7 seconds after Vincent Kane walked out. Then someone started clapping. A single person. From table 12. An older black woman dining alone. Then another person joined. Then another. Then the entire dining room erupted in applause. Juana stood there, frozen, not sure if she should bow or run or collapse. Judge put a hand on her shoulder. Steady. Grounding. You okay? I don't know. That was either the bravest thing I've ever seen or the most reckless. Probably both. Come on. Let's get you off the floor. He guided her toward the back, away from the stairs and whispers and phones recording everything. But before they reached the kitchen, someone called out, "Excuse me, miss." Juana turned. It was Natalia Chun, the investor who'd been asking the tough questions. She was standing at her table, purse in hand. But she wasn't leaving. She was walking toward Juana. "I'm sorry," Juana said. "I didn't mean to ruin your evening." "Ruin it? You saved me from losing $4 million. Natalia reached into her purse, pulled out a business card, handed it to Juana. "Chin Capital Management. I run an investment firm. We do due diligence on major deals. And what you just did, that's the kind of research and courage we pay top dollar for. I'm not looking for a job. Maybe not tonight. But when you are, call me." Then Natalia pulled out something else. A checkbook. She wrote quickly, tore off the check, handed it to Juana. Juana looked at it, blinked. "Read it again. $20,000. What is this?" "Compensation. For saving me from a very expensive mistake. And hazard pay. Because I know Vincent Kane. And I know he doesn't forget. I can't accept this." "You can. And you will. Because you're going to need resources for what comes next." Natalia walked away before Juana could protest further. Judge looked at the check, whistled. "Okay. Now it's the bravest and luckiest thing I've ever seen." In the manager's office, Judge poured 2 glasses of water. "So, Harvard Law, nursing degree, 5 languages, and you've been serving tables for 8 months. I told you. Personal reasons. Vincent Kane tried to destroy you. It wasn't a question. He succeeded. I lost my career, my reputation. He threatened my family. I ran. And tonight you stopped running." Juana took a long drink of water. Her hands were finally steady. "Tonight, I realized something. Silence doesn't protect you. It just gives people like Vincent more power. I spent 3 years being invisible, being scared, and he still controls my life. Not anymore. Maybe. Or maybe I just made everything worse." Judge leaned back in his chair. "You know I used to be a lawyer?" Juana looked up, surprised. "What?" 20 years ago. Corporate law. Made partner at 35. Had the life everyone wants. "What happened?" "I defended a company that knowingly sold contaminated products. People got sick. Some died. And I helped them avoid liability. Won the case. Got a bonus. And realized I couldn't do it anymore. So you left." "So I left. And people told me I was throwing away my career. That I'd regret it. That I'd end up serving tables." He smiled. "Ironic. Turns out they were right about the last part. But I don't regret it. Because I sleep at night. And that's worth more than partnership." Juana nodded slowly. "Why are you telling me this?" "Because tomorrow morning, your phone's going to start ringing. Job offers. Media requests. Legal threats. It's going to be chaos. And you're going to have to decide who you want to be. I just want to be someone who isn't afraid." Then you're already there. Judge was right. By 9 a.m. the next morning, Juana's phone had 43 missed calls. She'd gone home, barely slept, kept checking her locks, kept waiting for Vincent's people to show up at her door. But instead, the calls came. The first was from Kenny Park, Securities and Exchange Commission, Criminal Investigations Division. "Miss Chun, I've been trying to reach you for 2 years. We've been building a case against Vincent Kane. We need your testimony." "I can't testify. I was disbarred. My credibility is." "Your credibility just became rock solid. Last night's confrontation was recorded by 17 people. It's all over social media. And every word you said checks out. We verified it. Vincent will destroy me. Again. Not if we arrest him first. Which we're planning to do. today, but we need you to come in. Officially. Give a statement. Help us build the criminal case. Juana sat on her bed, staring at the wall. If I do this, my family will be placed under federal protection. Standard protocol for witnesses in cases involving threats and intimidation. You can do that. We can. And we will. Ms. Chun, Vincent Kane has been running this operation for 15 years. You're the first person who stood up to him publicly and lived to talk about it. We need you. Juana thought about her mother in Atlanta, her brother in Chicago, her niece at college. Thought about Robert Torres, Robin Davis, all the other victims whose names she didn't know. Okay, I'll come in. Thank you. I'm sending a car. Be ready in 30 minutes. He hung up. Juana sat there for another moment, then called her mother. Mama, it's me. Don't freak out. But some federal agents are going to show up at your door today. You need to go with them. Juana, what's going on? Are you in trouble? No, Mama. For the first time in 3 years, I'm not in trouble. But I need you to trust me. Okay. A long pause. Okay, baby. I trust you. The SEC office was downtown. 11th floor. Conference room with no windows. Kenny Park was younger than Juana expected. Mid-30s. Sharp suit. Tired eyes. Thank you for coming. Do I need a lawyer? You're not under investigation. You're a witness. But if you want representation, that's your right. I used to be a lawyer. Kenny smiled. I know. I read your file. What Vincent did to you is illegal. Witness intimidation. Blackmail. Abuse of process. We're adding those charges too. How long have you been investigating him? For years. But he's smart. Covers his tracks. Uses shell corporations. Offshore accounts. Intimidates anyone who tries to talk. Until last night. Kenny pulled up a tablet. Showed Juana a video. It was her. From last night. Standing in the Golden Terrace. Speaking in 5 languages. Exposing Vincent Kane. This video has 3 million views. And climbing. Every major news outlet has picked it up. And you know what's happening. What? Other victims are coming forward. We've had 27 calls since midnight. People who were threatened into silence. People who signed NDAs. People who thought they were alone. Kenny leaned forward. You gave them courage. And you gave us leverage. We have enough now to arrest Vincent Kane on multiple federal charges. Fraud. Money laundering. Witness tampering. He's looking at 20 years minimum. Juana felt something unfamiliar. Relief. Hope. When are you arresting him? 2 hours ago. What? Kenny pulled up another screen. News footage. Vincent Kane being led out of his office in handcuffs. We moved fast. Before he could run or destroy evidence. He's in federal custody right now. No bail. He's done. Juana watched the video. Vincent in handcuffs. Face pale. Finally not smiling. And she started crying. Not sad tears. Release. 3 years of pressure. 3 years of fear. Gone. Thank you, she whispered. Thank me by testifying. We go to trial in 6 months. Your testimony is critical. I'll be there. Over the next week, Juana's life transformed again. But this time, in the opposite direction. The story went viral. Waitress destroys billionaire fraudster in 5 languages. News interviews. Podcast requests. Book deals. And job offers. So many job offers. 3 law firms reached out. Wanted her back. Despite the disbarment. We can petition for reinstatement. Your reputation has been restored. Chin Capital Management offered her a position. Head of due diligence. 6-figure salary. A victims' rights organization wanted her to lead their legal advocacy team. Even Harvard Law called. Wanted her to guest lecture on corporate ethics and whistleblowing. Juana sat in her apartment looking at all the offers spread across her coffee table. She should have been happy, relieved, vindicated. But mostly she felt exhausted. Judge called that afternoon. How you holding up? Overwhelmed. That's fair. Listen, I know you've got a lot of options now. But I wanted to say something. What? You've still got a job here. If you want it. No pressure. But you're good at this. And the staff loves you. And honestly, I could use someone with your brain helping me run this place. Juana smiled. You're offering me a promotion? From waitress to what? Assistant manager? Partner? 50-50 split. I'm tired of doing this alone. And I trust you. Judge, I'm a lawyer. I can make 10 times what you're offering. I know. But will you sleep at night? Juana was quiet. Think about it, Judge said. No rush. But the offer stands. 2 weeks after Vincent's arrest, Juana was back at the Golden Terrace. Not working. Just visiting. She walked in during dinner service. The place was packed. Judge saw her and waved her over. Juana, come here, I want you to meet someone. He led her to table 8. A family. Black family. Parents and a young girl. Maybe 9 years old. This is Zara Williams. She was here that night. She saw everything. The girl looked up at Juana. Eyes bright. Curious. You're the lady who yelled at the bad man. Juana knelt down. Eye level. I didn't yell. I just told the truth. My mom says you were brave. The mother smiled. We've been coming here for years. And we've seen people like that man treat staff terribly. Nobody ever stood up to them. Until you. It was scary, Juana admitted. To the girl. Honest. But you did it anyway, Zara said. Yeah, I did it anyway. My teacher says that's what bravery is. Being scared but doing it anyway. Juana felt her throat tighten. Your teacher's right. Zara pulled out a notebook. Drew something. Handed it to Juana. It was a drawing. Stick figures. One standing on a table. Others sitting around listening. Words and speech bubbles. Different languages. That's you. Being brave. I want to be like you when I grow up. Juana took the drawing. Looked at this 9-year-old black girl who'd witnessed something that changed her understanding of what was possible. You know what? You don't have to wait until you grow up. You can be brave right now. Every day? In small ways. Like what? Like speaking up when someone's being treated badly. Like telling the truth even when it's hard. Like being kind to people everyone else ignores. Zara nodded seriously. I can do that. I know you can. That night, Juana made her decision. She called Chin Capital. Declined the offer. Called the law firms. Thanked them. Said no. Called Judge. I want to accept. The partnership. 50-50. Yeah. Yeah. But on one condition. What's that? We start a scholarship. For service workers who want to go back to school. Get degrees. We fund it through the restaurant. Judge was quiet for a moment. That's going to cut into profits. I know. Okay. Let's do it. 6 months later, Vincent Kane was convicted on 37 federal charges. Juana testified. Calm. Detailed. Unshakable. The jury deliberated for 4 hours. Guilty. On all counts. Sentencing. 25 years. No parole. Juana sat in the courtroom and watched as they led him away. And felt nothing. Not satisfaction. Not revenge. Just closure. Outside the courthouse, reporters swarmed. Ms. Chun, how does it feel to get justice? Do you have any advice for other whistleblowers? What's next for you? Juana looked at the cameras, at the microphones, at all the attention, and spoke clearly. Simply, for 3 years, I was silent. I thought silence would protect me, protect my family, keep me safe. But silence doesn't protect you. It just gives power to people who abuse it. I'm not special. I'm not a hero. I'm just someone who got tired of being afraid. And if my story helps one person find their voice, then everything I went through was worth it. What are you doing now? Someone asked. I'm a partner at a restaurant. I'm starting a scholarship fund. And I'm living my life without fear. That's enough. She walked away. Kenny Park caught up with her at the bottom of the courthouse steps. That was a good statement. Thanks. We got tips on 3 other cases because of your testimony. Other fraud schemes. Other victims coming forward. That's good. You could consult. Help us investigate. You've got the skills. Maybe someday. But right now, I'm exactly where I need to be. Kenny nodded. Shook her hand. If you change your mind, call me. 1 year after the night, everything changed. Juana stood in the Golden Terrace during a private event. The restaurant's first scholarship recipients. 5 people. Service workers from around the city. Waitresses, cooks, janitors, bartenders. All getting full rides to college. Zara Williams was there too. With her family. Guest of honor. Because she'd written an essay about bravery, and Juana had insisted she be part of the ceremony. Judge gave a speech about second chances. About how everyone deserves opportunity. Then he turned to Juana. None of this happens without her. The woman who reminded us that courage isn't about being fearless. It's about being terrified and doing the right thing anyway. Applause. Juana stood up, walked to the microphone, and looked at the faces. The scholarship recipients. Zara. Judge. All the people who'd supported her. A year ago, I was invisible. I chose invisibility because I thought it was safe. Because I thought if I made myself small enough, powerful people couldn't hurt me. But invisibility is its own kind of prison. When you're invisible, you can't connect, can't grow, can't be yourself. What I learned is that being seen is terrifying, but it's also necessary. Because when you're seen, you give other people permission to be seen too. She looked at Zara. There's a 9-year-old girl in this room who told me she wants to be brave. And I told her she doesn't have to wait. Bravery isn't a destination. It's a choice. Every single day. So here's my challenge. To everyone in this room. To everyone watching. Stop waiting for permission to speak up. Stop waiting for the perfect moment. Stop making yourself invisible. Find your voice. Use it. Even if it shakes. Even if you're scared. Especially if you're scared. Because the world needs your voice. Your truth. Your courage. And you're not alone. You were never alone. The room erupted in applause. And Juana smiled. Because for the first time in years, maybe in her entire life, she knew exactly who she was. Not invisible. Not silent. Not afraid. Just Juana. Speaking her truth. In as many languages as it took. Final voiceover, Juana. They asked me if I regret it. Speaking up. Risking everything. And the answer is no. Because silence is expensive. It costs your dignity. Your peace. Your soul. I paid that price for 3 years. And it almost destroyed me. But the moment I found my voice again, everything changed. Not overnight. Not easily. But slowly. Surely. Vincent Kane is in prison. 25 years. His empire collapsed. His victims got justice. And me? I'm not a lawyer anymore. I'm a restaurant partner. A scholarship founder. A person who sleeps at night. I make less money. Have less prestige. Live a quieter life. But I'm free. And that's worth more than anything. If you're reading this, if you're watching this, and you're being silenced by fear or power or threats, hear me. Your voice matters. Your truth matters. You matter. And the moment you speak up, you give permission to everyone else who's been silent. That's not just courage. That's revolution. So speak. In whatever language you know. In whatever way you can. Because the world is listening. And it's waiting for you. If this story moved you, drop a comment below. Have you ever had to find your courage when everything told you to stay silent? Subscribe to Phenom Stories for more true stories about ordinary people doing extraordinary things. About justice served. About speaking truth to power. About moments that change everything. Because reality doesn't need special effects. It just needs people brave enough to tell the truth. Hit that notification bell so you never miss one. And remember, your voice is more powerful than you think. Use it.